Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jay from Sony Alpha Lab, and what I'm going to do in this video is just update my Sony Vario Tessar T-Star FE 24-70mm f4 Zeiss lens. I gave it a pretty low review here, 3.5 stars. Normally a Zeiss lens should be, in my opinion, at least 4.5 to 5 stars. As far as how I like to look at things, from the real world perspective. So my beef with this lens in particular was the softer corners and severe distortion wide open, and the softer than expected at telephoto end wide open. So that means 70mm f4, and the high price tag for f4 speed and optical quality, even with the Zeiss badge. So 3.5. So a lot of people thought I might have had a bad copy, a bad lens, and it definitely seemed possible that I had a bad copy because I've never got a Zeiss lens that's been as poor performing as this particular lens. And this is going to be really quick. I'm just going to go over these photos that I took. I only took a few. I only had this lens for a limited period of time, but right out of the gate you could see the distortion is, I would say, severe. So that's, borderline unacceptable for a Zeiss lens. I mean, look at that. You can see how bad the distortion is. Now, I'm using Capture One, and I'm using the Pro version, and it has a nice option here where you can correct the distortion. It automatically finds the lens you're using, and you could just drag this up, and it'll fix it. If you go to like 100%, did a pretty good job. But I just want to put it back to where it was because I want to show you what this looks like raw here. Loop size, large. I just wanted to let you know that it is somewhat fixable. Alright, so let me show you the corner sharpness here. And you can see it's quite soft there. I mean, it's not horrendously horrible or anything, but it's definitely not Zeiss quality. And it's, $1,200 is a lot of money for this lens. It really should be sharper than that, in my opinion. So the center looks pretty darn sharp. Never had a problem with the center really at 24mm. Here's f5.6. I'm just going to show you the corner. See, it's a little bit more detail there, but still fairly soft. And again, this is f8. And again, a little more detail, but still fairly soft. Now, overall, this lens is phenomenal in all other ways, though. Color, contrast, center sharpness is great. Flaring, build quality. All those things are top quality and Zeiss worthy. It's just the distortion and corner sharpness I really have an issue with. All right, so now zoomed into 70mm, and you can again see the severe distortion. Just look at the brick. I mean, that is bad. Now let me drag this up and I'll show you what it looks like fixed. That's pretty much fixed for the most part. And drag it a little more right there. And then you drag it back and you could see that pin cushion, barrel distortion, whatever you want to call it. Now let me show you the corner sharpness here. And you can see it's reasonable. That's f4 70mm. It's a little bit soft there. Not too bad though, but this is sharp here in the center. That's very sharp. So this is definitely sharper at 70mm f4 than the lens I had previously. Now here's a few more. I focused on this Gap sign, Frank's Pizza sign area. Really good pizza there. This is over in Middletown, New York. Now up here on the left, this is at f4. You can see I'm pretty far away, and the fence is definitely soft. It's not horrendously soft or anything, but it's notably soft. So f8. And you can see it sharpened up a bit, but it's still, again, pretty soft. So let me move on here. And now this is more further away. It's actually Home Depot there. So here's f4. And let me show you just how sharp that stop sign is. Now that's fantastic, right? That's Zeiss. Everything Zeiss, Zeiss, Zeiss. Color, contrast, sharp, sharp. Now look at this light up here. It's soft. It's definitely soft. I mean, it's not terribly soft again, but notably soft, and the distortion there is pretty significant. So here's one at f8, and the center is going to be a razor blade, yep. And then up here, it's a little bit sharper. Definitely a usable image, for sure, but it's still a little bit soft there, and it's got quite a ways all the way to the corner, So let me go into the lab here and show you what it looks like in the lab. Alright, so here we are in the lab, and this is f4 24mm, and again you can see the distortion, pretty significant. And let me show you what this corner looks like. This looks pretty good, guys. That's acceptable sharpness. I mean, I'm pretty far away from the corner, but it's looking pretty darn good. This is definitely a better copy. I had a poor copy of the lens last time. Now the corner is pretty far away, but even still, The previous version of this lens I had, this was softer than this in the lab at f4, 24mm. I'll just stop it down. You can see it does have a little bit of a vignette there. That's the darkening of the corners. See that? Alright, so 5.6, 24mm. And you can see the corner looks pretty darn sharp. Not 100% sharp, but it's pretty sharp. f8 looks pretty good. So obviously the center is going to look really good. You can see all the detail on the fibers. And I'll just go to f4 and see if the detail on the fibers is still there. And it is. Not quite as tack sharp, but it's definitely very, very sharp. So center sharpness is awesome. You know, like the center, I don't know, area of the maybe 50-60% is excellent. It's just right around here it starts to fade by the 1. Right around the 1 and beyond, the sharpness starts to fade off. See that? And the more you get to the corner, the worse it gets. So again, guys, in the real world, this is totally usable. You know, I'm just showing you the flaws here. So this is f4, 70mm, and you can see it's extremely sharp in the center. No, you know, totally Zeiss quality. f5.6, f8. Let's see what f8 looks like in the corner. And you can see the corner is still a little bit blurry there, or soft, at f8. And you can see as I work my way towards the corner of the dollar, it starts to sharpen up. And right there, it's pretty darn sharp again. So, you know, pretty much almost all the usable area of the frame, you know. Now, this is at 51mm, f8. And the corner looks pretty good. It's definitely much sharper at 50mm than it is at 70 or 24. So what do we got here? I think I got a 34mm. Here's 34mm f4. And you can see that's pretty darn good in the corner. It's not razor blade sharp, but it's definitely acceptably sharp for the corner at f4. Now let me just show you the 50mm corner at f4, which is this guy here. 50mm, alright, it's a little bit soft there, but right there, normal looks good. That word normal. I don't know, that's pretty good. Other than the distortion. It's looking pretty sharp here. Alright, and 34mm, f8. Let's go to that real quick, and you can see that looks very sharp. So the distortion is pretty noticeable even at this focal length. As you can see, I can drag it back, and you can see how it straightens out there. Alright, I'll go to 24mm and I'll show you the distortion. See that? And 70mm, I'll show you the distortion there, so you can, it's a little bit harder to see on the 70mm, but you can see it there. See that? Alright, so that's pretty much it, guys. So let me just show you, here's the review. I don't think I'm going to update this. I mean, the sharpness is a little bit better at f4 70mm for sure, so maybe I'll update this to a 3.75, but the, you know, soft corners is still present, and the distortion obviously is still going to be there. It's pretty significant, and it's a Zeiss badge. It's $1,200, so, you know, it is what it is, guys. It's not a horrible lens by any means. It's still a great lens, but for $1,200, I would absolutely expect the corners to be sharper and the distortion to not be so severe. So I'm working on my RX10 III review. That's coming out soon. It's in production here. I'm still working on it. And we got the photography challenge going on in the forum here. Steph just added a couple unbelievable shots for the pattern challenge, so be sure to check that out. And here's the YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe, guys. And, you know, if you scroll down here on the main channel, you'll see I got a lot of other videos. Like down here, you got Capture One tutorial, and this comes free. Capture One Express comes free with Sony equipment. So that's why I'm using the program now. But in addition to that, the colors are definitely better than Lightroom, in my opinion. And it's more powerful. The program is more powerful in several different ways. Not quite as user-friendly as Lightroom, but at the end of the day, once you get through that learning curve of the basics on how the program works, it's phenomenal. So that's for those wondering what I was using for the software. I get that question quite a bit. Also, since you guys are here, I'll give you a quick sneak peek. I just got the killer 85mm GM lens, f1.4. Look at this. Unbelievable sharpness. Check that out. Here's another one. Look at this. Look at this dinosaur. That's at 85mm f1.4, wide open. Incredible, right? All right, guys. I will catch up with you. Have a good day. And again, be sure to subscribe. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.